This video is on how to replace the brake pads in a 2005 Pontiac Sunfire, and I always recommend the first thing to do before you're doing any work on your vehicle is get a repair manual and read that section in the manual. And there's the manual. Next thing you want to do is put your emergency brake on and then loosen off your wheel lug nuts. Don't take them off, just loosen them off just enough so that when you raise the vehicle, the wheel may spin, so you just loosen them off every lug nut while it's on the ground, and that way the wheel won't be spinning on you. I just take you see how that one's just loosened off a bit, but basically still on there. So loosen off those nuts, block your vehicle. You got the emergency brake on. You got a block behind your wheels just to make sure nothing's going to roll on you. Your manual shows you where to jack it. There's a notch. Can't see it from here, but there's a notch underneath in behind that rocker panel. And the manual shows you where to jack it there. And we're ready to jack this up. Okay, so the vehicle is jacked up. I put some blocks in there. Never forget to put the blocks at some point where, in worst case scenario, this vehicle drops or that jack gives out or something, that those blocks are going to keep the weight of the vehicle. Worst case scenario, it falls, it's sitting on the blocks. Even if it damages the vehicle, at least it hasn't landed in your legs. So as you can see now, this wheel will turn. So I'm going to remove the wheel and look at the brake pads. And next you want to take a bit of fluid out of the master cylinder, because when you put those new brake pads on there, and when we drive them pads into the caliper to get them out, it's going to force the fluid back in the master cylinder. So I just took a turkey baster and sucked some out of there. And there we are. Took the wheel off. There's our brake rotor. Looks good. Not much wear there. There's the brake caliper. I'm going to take a C-clamp, place it on here. That's our old brake pad. And then I'm going to force the C-clamp to drive this pad into the rotor. Okay, so the C-clamp is on. Part of the C-clamp, front part, is on here, sitting against the brake pad. The rear of it is at the back of the caliper. Make sure you put it on the steel part down there. In behind, make sure you have a look that you're not actually landed on a hose or something like that. I'm driving these, turning the C-clamp righty-tighty, obviously, going clockwise to tighten it, and I'm tightening it a lot. I'm going to drive those as far as I can in, because I can already tell by looking at this. Here's our rotor. I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's the brake pads. This one in the rear one, the one in closest to the vehicle, always tends to wear most, and you can see that is really, really worn. So I'm going to need a lot of room in this caliper to put the new ones in, because the wear there, they're really thin. So that's the next step. Okay, so the caliper mounting bolts on this vehicle is a little different. As you can see, there's a socket, and it actually has a six-sided socket that goes into the mounting bolt itself. So I put that on there and got my ratchet set for removing it, and I'm just carefully taking that off. I actually tapped that lightly in with the hammer because there was a bunch of crud inside of that nut on the the bolt on the caliper, and I wanted to make sure that socket got in there good. So there's a mounting bolt here, and then up on the top of the caliper, there's the other one there. Same setup. So once you start to get them loosened off, now I've got the top one loosened off a bit, you should notice your caliper starting to get loose. I shake it there, so obviously I'm on the right track, and I'll finish taking those two bolts out. Okay, this caliper is off. It's a little bit stubborn. As you can see, the caliper mounting bolt there that's sticking out, that actually has to come out quite far if you compare it to the other video I just showed you. So that was part of the reason. I didn't think that had to be backed out quite as far as it did. Anyway, there's our rotor, and I'm going to hang this caliper by a tie wrap and get to it. Okay, so here's the brake pads. On the right is a new one. On the left is the old one. So as you can see, this was definitely ready for a new set of brake pads. The one on the left is pretty much worn. Okay, so I pried the old brake pads out with a screwdriver, and there's the caliper. The new pad, I got brake grease all around the edges of it, and you got to use nothing but brake grease for this. You can't use WD-40 or anything like that, because brake grease, the brakes get really hot, and you can't use anything like WD-40 that's got any kind of explosive property. So the inner one, the inner brake pad, has tabs that fit down into the bore of the caliper. See if I can push that down there with this camera and hold the camera like that. They'll go like that. The shape of the pad, the way it goes in, will match up with the shape of the caliper there. And then the outer pad will go up like this, and then I'll force that in. There's two tabs on that force over the outside of the caliper to keep it in place, so I'll put that in there now. So there's the two pads in place on the caliper. I'm just going to cut my tie wrap where I got hanging off of the strut, cut that off of there, and put my two mounting bolts on the caliper. Okay, so the caliper is mounted. The caliper mounting bolts are here, and that should be flush once that bolt is in there. Right where my finger is there, that should be basically flush with, there's like a rubber around it, so that should go right into the caliper mount. There shouldn't be any of that sticking out of there, so tighten that up good and snug, and there we have it. It's back together with our new pads. Make sure you pump the brake several times to get your brake pedal back. Check your brake fluid, and that's it for this video. Thanks.